So the second skill after narrative building is dignities. Now there are a number of books, for example Tarot Decoded by Liz Hazel. This is a book on elemental and planetary dignities. And the book I mentioned before, Beyond the Celtic Cross by Catherine Chapman and Paul Hughes Barlow. These particular books teach elemental and planetary dignities. This is a way of looking at the interaction of the cards at a symbolic level before the actual interpretation of the card itself. So we might look at, for example, 3 cards together. We might have fire corresponding to one card, and earth corresponding to the cards either side of it, and that would result in a sort of pulling down of the fire energy. So we might say that that card is not very well aspected, to use an astrological term, in the reading. It's a very good way in a narrative flow, such as the opening of the key, to actually determine which cards have more impact within the narrative flow than the others. It's almost like highlighting a particular chapter within a reading, or suddenly having a colour page in a otherwise black and white comic book. It enables you to be very subtle in the reading and see what's really going on underneath the hood of it, underneath the engine. So I have a slightly different way of teaching this. Before I move students on to elemental, planetary and other correspondence methods of dignities, which is something that is pretty easy to learn, and I'd like to teach it to you now. It's something called natural dignities. This uses your own unconscious, your own intuition, kinesthetics, that's to say movements within your own body, and the use of your peripheral vision, which picks up movement as opposed to the centre of your eyes, which pick up detail. So what I'd like you to do is select out any 3 cards from your tarot deck. So if you'd like to shuffle your tarot deck and select out 3 cards. Place them between you so that one card is exactly where you can see it, right in front of your nose, and then place the other 2 cards slightly out of focus, out of the corner of your eye, so that you can see the main card, but it may seem a bit blurry because it's right in front of you, and you can see the other 2 cards just slightly out of your vision. What I want you to do is place your fingers on both cards, on the outsides, on the centre of the cards, but actually on the outside of the where you're looking. So you need a big table for this, I guess. And then look at the central card, and then just so that you can see the 2 cards, just out of the corner of your eyes, so that you know what cards they are. What I want you to do is just get the natural feeling in your body of how those cards want to move. And that could be all sorts of different ways. It could be that one card just wants to draw in. It's almost like having your own Ouija board, this. One card wants to move in, one card wants to circle. Both of them you want to move like this. You want to move them like this, or you just want to push that one away and bring that one close, or both of them feel as if they're being attracted to the card in the middle. And I just want you to play around with all of the variations of movement that you will actually find the cards doing. You may find this works better with different decks for you. Some people respond more to colour, some people respond more to the vibrancy of the objects or the esoteric symbolism within the deck itself. So what I'd like you to do is practice that 2 or 3 times a day, doing it 3 or 4 repetitions each time, and just learn how many different ways there are of feeling intuitively the movement of the cards towards the card in the centre. Now the important thing with this exercise is not particularly to make much sense of it. I don't want you to try and work out why, if you have the Knight of Wands in the middle, the Hanged Man here, and the Two of Cups here, that the Two of Cups feels as if it wants to do that, and the Hangman just stays there like that. There's no need particularly to work out consciously exactly what those movements correspond to. It's just a way of connecting to, installing and practicing an entirely unconscious way of using dignities. What you should find is after a week or so of practicing this, and this is what my students have told me, is that when you're looking at a particular card, you will naturally start to interpret it in the light of the two cards either side of it. This is very useful in the opening of the key method that you're going to do. And it means that you don't have to learn all of the complex, potentially complex, elemental, planetary and other dignities. Also, one of the interesting things with this is that it's actually modelled from some very good experienced tarot readers who do it naturally. You go and watch tarot readers who've been doing this a long time and watch how they move the cards around unconsciously, because they know that there's a particular feeling with this card, and they want to move this card closer to explain it to you. This is teaching you to do the thing that successful tarot readers do after 10 or 20 years. And it's using a system called NLP to model successful tarot readers, what they do unconsciously, and then be able to install and teach it to people all the way from the beginning. Makes for better readers a lot faster.